Good Sunday afternoon, everybody. I hope I get some people in here this afternoon. I may have went live too early. But I thought I'd go live since it's Sunday. I wasn't doing anything this afternoon anyway. I've got to go to the store and get some more jalapenos because I use those cayenne peppers and they like to kill me. That cayenne pepper vapors got in the air and it drove my allergies crazy. The jalapenos work just as well for the garden, and they're actually the best ones to get because they boil better and they don't put quite as much stuff in the air that I'm allergic to, but the bugs don't like it. So I'm going to run to the store after my live is over, and I'm going to pick up some jalapenos, and I've got to boil another pot of spray because I used up every drop of spray that I had, and my 2.1 liter gallon sprayer was full of hot pepper spray, and I used every bit of it on eggplants, pepper plants, okra, tomatoes, this whole side of the garden over here. I didn't put any on this side where the shade cloth is, or where the strawberry beds are. I didn't even get that far, and I ran out of pepper spray, so I've got to go buy me some more jalapenos and make me some more this evening. But this is the worst time of the year for bugs and ants in your garden because of the heat, especially here in Texas. I mean, this heat dries everything out, so I think the bugs and the ants especially go to your pepper plant, your okra, and stuff like that to get moisture from the plant and to get food, because they'll eat your okra. They'll just ruin your okra, and they'll kill your stalks if you're not careful. So I can spray them with that pepper spray, and by the next day every ant is gone. They disappear because they don't stay around. So I've got to go ahead and get me some more jalapenos. I'm not using cayenne pepper anymore. That liked to kill me. Last night I was coughing so bad. My throat was raw. But like I said, I take a Benadryl every night, so that helped clear it up. But I don't want to boil any more cayenne peppers. We got Kimberly and we got Tamara Aimling. Hello, ladies. Tamara says, I was just watching the replay of last night's live. Oh, okay. Well, I decided I'd go live this afternoon because, used to I'd go live at 3 o'clock every Sunday afternoon. And I didn't make 3 o'clock, but I did make 3:30. I'm doing a lot better than last night. That Benadryl helped clear up all of the irritation from that cayenne pepper. I'm not ever making hot pepper spray with cayenne pepper anymore. That liked to kill me. And there's Pippintine. Hello, Pippintine. I will get the jalapenos. I'll run to the store to get them because they boil better. They have a thicker pepper, so it has a lot more of the hot juice to come out of the pepper into the water. You don't have to boil them quite as long. And like I said, you don't get as much as that hot vapor stuff in the air that you do with the cayenne pepper that like to kill me. Oh my God, I thought I was dying. You got to cut the leaf off the stalk when you cut the okra. I've never heard of that. What do you mean cutting the leaf off the stalk? And there's MT. Howdy, MT. How you doing? Yeah, but when I start noticing ants going up the stalks of my tomato plants, my pepper plants, especially the okra, they love to get on the okra. They will destroy your plants, those ants will. And I can spray them with that pepper spray. Those ants will disappear and they will not come back. Not until it rains and the rain washes the pepper spray off the plant. Then you got to go out there and redo it. And the next day, your plants look so much better. It's like they're just so relieved they got a new lease on life. The ants are gone, because you can look how much stress the plants are in when those ants are on there. And when you spray them with that hot pepper spray, you go look at them the next day, they look 100% better already. Well, I use that pepper spray because it works the best for me for any type of bug or critter that wants to get on your plants and destroy it. Even the aphids, it'll chase the aphids away. So if I have a squash plant or anything like that, I'll spray that squash plant too. The aphids will leave it alone. They don't like the hot pepper. Because you know, they tell you to plant hot peppers throughout your garden to help ward off all the insects, and it works. But it just so happened this year, the bugs were eating my jalapeno plants as fast as they germinated and would come out of the ground. So I've only got 1 or 2 jalapeno plants out there, and they're not big enough to produce peppers yet. With gnats, well, the only time I have gnats in my house is if I buy bananas from the store and I leave them out in the fruit bowl over here over the microwave, or I leave them on the counter. The gnats love. What's the purpose of, please go to the doctor. You don't have to cough. They get medication to calm it down. The okra plant, my grandmother cut the leaf by the okra one. Why would you cut the leaf as well as the okra? What's the purpose in doing that? Do you know, Kimberly? But the ants still, the ants get on your stalks of your okra and just go all the way up to where there's an okra growing, and they will just destroy that okra. But you give it a good spray with that hot pepper spray, especially the jalapeno, they will leave that plant and they will not come back for a long time. They don't like hot pepper spray. I've already got stuff for the allergies, Kimberly. It wouldn't do any good to go to the doctor. They just tell me to take Benadryl. That's what I've already done. So I took a Benadryl when I went to bed last night. And I feel a whole lot better today. I'm not coughing like I did. My throat is not raw. Yeah, the only way to keep the gnats from in your house is if you got fruit that attracts them, just put it in the refrigerator. As much as I hate to, I put apples, oranges, bananas, everything down in the vegetable bin. The first sign of a gnat flying around my bananas up here in my fruit bowl, they go in the refrigerator. That's the only way you can get rid of the gnats. Well, in this heat, I don't have any bottom leaves to cut. This heat just burns them up on on my tomato plants. Ain't there a mixture of dish soap and vinegar that catch those gnats? I have no idea. I've never used vinegar or dish soap to catch them. I just put my fruit in the refrigerator. That way they don't even come in the house. Because if you don't have fruit out, you don't usually have anything to attract them. Now, sometimes if there's cat food out, the wet cat food that's in the can, and Lucky doesn't eat it all, if it sits there all day, you might get a gnat that'll find it. And you'll have gnats in the bowl. And usually I try to keep it emptied or just wash it out and put water in it after he eats. That way there's no attraction for the gnats. Yeah, I usually try to prevent them rather than to catch them or kill them. It's easier to prevent them. You can put fruit in mason jars. Yeah, I guess you could. That would be an airtight thing to put them in, to where the gnats can't smell the fruit, so they don't have anything that attracts them. Yeah, a lot of times if he has a little bit of that wet cat food left in his bowl, because I give him dry food in one bowl and his wet food in the other. If he leaves a little bit in that bottom of the bowl and I don't clean it out, by the end of the day, there's gnats in that bowl. So I usually try to, when he's finished eating, I'll take the bowl, I'll rinse it out and fill it with water and put the water down there so he can drink water when he wants it. And the gnats won't come around the water. I'm doing vinegar and dish soap. Yes, they love wet cat food. Mm. I've never heard of the vinegar and dish soap. But I can't believe how fast that pepper spray went yesterday. I got out there late when the sun went down and it was still daylight out. And I sprayed this whole side of the garden back over here. Tomato plants, okra plants, eggplants, you name it. It all got sprayed to keep the ants away. Connie Hawkins says, hello everyone from Pennsylvania. Hello to you, Connie. But yeah, I'm not going to ever make pepper spray with cayenne pepper again. It's too strong and too much of that hot vapor gets in the air. And that's what I was breathing that made my throat raw. And I said, well, I'll know how to fix that. I'm not making it with cayenne pepper anymore. I'll go get my jalapenos. Because the jalapenos don't do me that bad. Usually by the time you start smelling the jalapeno, after it's been boiling a while, it's already been boiled enough. And there's Eli. Hello, Eli. And it didn't get quite as hot today. I mean, it's still plenty hot, don't get me wrong. But it only got up to 99 degrees today versus 103 or 104. But it'll be right back up tomorrow. So this is just a short little break, a day break on Sunday. I think it's supposed to be up to 103 tomorrow, then 104, and it'll keep climbing a few degrees each day. But hey, I'll take 99 degrees over 103 any day. You're right about that. I'm bad to let a tater go bad in the tater sack, and then for 2 days I'm trying to figure out what's stinking. I did that. I kept thinking it was my trash. Because, you know, I've got a little trash closet right here under the bar. And I kept, what is that I smell? So I emptied the trash. I put it out in the big bin outside. Come back in and I still smelled it. I said, what is that? Where is it coming from? And I thought I had used all my potatoes. So I got to looking under the counter, under the sink, where I keep my bag of potatoes on the floor under there. And sure enough, there was about 6 potatoes in a potato sack, and about 3 or 4 of them were completely mushy and rotten. And that's what I kept smelling. I said, oh my God, those have got to go. And since I got rid of them, I don't smell it anymore. There's Joan. Hello, Joan. I don't know what YouTube is trying to do. When I quit going live, they started paying me more and more money all the time to do lives. Dropped what I was getting from my videos, so I went back doing lives again. And now since I've been doing the lives, they keep dropping the money down. And then they drop the money down on the videos. I said, y'all are just playing with me. And I chatted with one of the workers from YouTube one time, and I said, what is going on? I said, one week you're paying X amount of dollars for a live and a video, and then the next week you're paying like $5 less for each one. I said, what's going on with that? They said, well, it changes all the time, and what we pay is based on what the company that's advertising is willing to pay to advertise on your channel. And it never stays the same. It's always up and down, up and down. And said, LOL, I'm good to do that about twice a year. I think I would learn. Yeah, I got out just at daylight almost this morning. It was still a little cool and the breeze was blowing. And I grabbed that sprayer and I went out there and I started spraying. It took me about an hour to get it all sprayed that I did spray, and I still got to get more pepper spray. But by the time I got through, it was like 8:15, I think, 8 o'clock. It was already hot and I started sweating. I said, well, I'm out of pepper spray. I can't do anything else right now anyway. So I come in the house, took a shower, and I haven't done anything outside since, but I'll have to get out there and finish spraying once I get more jalapenos. Yeah, see the ads that you see on my videos and on the live, companies pay. They will pay me to put those ads on my videos and on my lives. That's how I earn my money. And YouTube pays you based on what that company is willing to pay on that video or that particular live. And it's never the same. They don't set one rate and leave it there. They're up and down all the time of what they will pay. It's 93, looks like here, right? No, 95, I'm sorry. But there's still a heat advisory because it's so dry. Yeah, it's 95. It said the high will be 96, but on the 5-day or 10-day forecast, it said it would hit a 99 today. But see, it's supposed to be right up to 102 tomorrow, 103 Tuesday, 103 Wednesday, 101 on Thursday. And then it's pretty much the same right on it for the whole full next week. It'll fluctuate from 95 to 101 next week. Yeah, but it's 95 degrees right now. But it feels like 103. The heat index or whatever, they say it feels like 103. So you know if it's actually 103 degrees, it feels like it's 107 out there. I lost my YouTube. Where'd it go? Got to get my chat back on. Yeah, I wasn't sure anybody would show up today because of not being scheduled. But I got a pretty good crowd on here. There's 26 watching right now. And see, I'd rather do the prevention by storing my fruit somewhere other than the fruit bowl on the counter to prevent the gnats from coming in to begin with, rather than put poison or vinegar or anything out in a dish to try to catch them. I have a lot of ads running through my lives Well, that's how I get paid. I mean, I'm sorry, but without the ads, I wouldn't make any money. Yeah, every ad that you see on my videos or on the lives, there's companies paying me to place those ads on my lives. But then they only will pay X amount of dollars of so many thousand views. So if it takes 2 videos to hit 1,000 views, then I only get paid for the 2 videos together. Or if it takes several days to hit 1,000 views, then it takes several days for me to make any money. So people are not really getting rich off of YouTube unless they've got 100,000 or more subscribers and they get 6 or 7 views each video. Then they might be making a little bit of money. I do good to hit 1,000 for a video. Sometimes I'm only making $10 for a video, and that's all. And that's a day's work for $10, y'all. Sometimes it's less. Sometimes it may be $12, $20. Just depends on how many people like it and how many people are watching it. It's 106 in Florida. Well, that's hot. Hot for Florida. But they were telling on the news the other day that I saw on the weather forecast and stuff. They were telling everybody that it was an unusual summer this year because all across the country, everybody, everywhere is experiencing extreme heat and dryness. More so than usual. It's not the normal thing. I mean, Arizona and Texas, you expect to be really hot, but you don't expect it to be, say, 106 degrees in Georgia or 106 degrees in Florida, really. I mean, back in North Carolina, our heat wave was hitting if it even got close to 97 degrees. 95 was hot. But it never hit triple digits or 104, 105. I mean, I've been here in Texas for many years, and I've spent many a summer where we had 110-degree temperatures. Not for just one day. It was for several days in a row. It's tough trying to get and keep a channel going. YouTube is up and down with how they suggest the videos to viewers. Yeah. You have to go by their guidelines, and there's so many cooking channels out there. There's so many gardening channels. So if you start up a gardening and cooking channel, you have so much competition. It's hard to build up subscribers. I mean, I feel fortunate I've got as many subscribers as I do, but I wish more of them would view the videos. I mean, with 12,000 subscribers, you'd think I'd hit 1,000 views every day easy, but I'm not. And I depend on the money I make from YouTube. That helps supplement my income to where I can get bills paid. So. And then at one time when I quit going live, it seemed like the more I went live and the more videos I produced, the less money they wanted to pay. Crazy. Joan says, I'm going to start a channel that says, send me 76, LOL. Well, a lot of these channels that have lots more subscribers than me, they start having their paid videos. where you have to be a paid member to see them. Now, I did that a short time ago on Patreon, because some people wanted to give me money each month, a small amount, and there was no way that they could do it that they found. So I added to Patreon, I think it was $1.99 membership a month, and some of them, signed up for that. Some of them signed up for more than that each month. But it was just because they wanted to help, and that was the only way I knew to do it, to where they could give on an ongoing basis, I mean, YouTube is that way, but I've got free memberships, and I really need to do away with the free memberships. Because once they find out they can join for free and then see all the paid membership videos that I put out, then why should they pay, But I hate to, because I've got like 8 or 9 or 10 free members, especially on Patreon. And I hate to go in there and say, well, if you're going to be a member, you got to pay at least 99 cents a month. I said, I hate to do stuff like that. Joan says sexy at 76. Hoo-wee. Well, when I could do my concerts, my views were up. But then I got so bad with coughing and everything else that I just hated to try to go do a concert and then have to cough halfway through it. You have to join a feature on YouTube when you pull up your channel. I don't know what feature that is, Kimberly. What is it that you join? What feature? I mean, usually you have to subscribe for sure to be in a live. But I don't know if I got free memberships on YouTube or not. You have the join feature on YouTube. Yeah, I've got a join on there. So if anybody wants to join and send money to me each month, that's perfectly fine. That's the reason I did it. Because so many people were saying, well, we want to give money, but just a little bit each month. How can we do that? And I said, well, I can set it up to where you can join as a member, and it'll charge you, say, like $1.99 a month or $2.99. There'll be different prices if that's what you want to do. And some of them said, yeah, they wanted to do that. So that's why I set it up to where you could join. And I did start out doing private videos and lives to where the members could see it, and you had to be a member to see the video. But it got to be too much with everything else I was doing, and I quit doing it. And I really need to start back. I've got members that want to see the private videos, and I haven't been producing those, I'm sorry to say. And there's Jerry Starcher. Hello, Jerry. Long time no see. Like the 4th of July parade, I had to cut part of it out to publish it because it had all this music on it, and they were penalizing me for it. They would copyright me for the music in the video. So I put the full version on Patreon, and I think on YouTube as a paid member video, so you could watch the whole thing in entirety. You all even got the music with the gorilla jumping on his trailer from last year with the music, because if you don't have the music, it just takes something away from it, And I noticed the city of Granbury videoed their 4th of July parade this year, and they cut out every bit of the music. If there was a float going by that had music playing, you didn't see it. It cut it out. You only saw part of it. So mine was the better parade video, but I wasn't getting paid for it because of the music that was in it. So, like I said, I had to cut part of it out and then put the whole video, music and all, on a private viewing for paid members only. And I was going to do that this year, and I didn't feel up to going out in that heat to go video the parade this year. And I hated it, but I just felt like I couldn't take the heat. I didn't feel good anyway. And then it was a bit, going to be so hot that day. I said, there's no way I can do it. Yeah, you can join as a member on YouTube and Patreon, either one. Some people rather watch the videos on Patreon. I don't know why. They said they don't like to get on YouTube to watch them, so they went to Patreon. They watch them over there. I mean, I don't understand it. I've already tried to have spring turnips, and they just didn't do good. It started, about the time they started bulbing up, it got so hot, it stunted the growth. And then I couldn't keep them watered enough. So my beets especially were really small. I don't know about the mustard or the turnips. I may or I may not. My poor strawberry plants are suffering right now. I can't keep enough water to those raised beds. Because, I can only water one day a week with the garden hose. And then the rest of the week I've got to, if it's something needs to be watered, I've got to carry water out in buckets from the compost tea containers. So, I mean, it's a job, if you got much stuff planted out there as I do and have to water it all by buckets. Now, the totes and the 5-gallon buckets that have the water reservoir on the bottom, they're doing okay. But the raised beds have no bottom in it. It doesn't hold water in the bottom. So they need more water than the totes or the buckets do. And I wasn't going to use raised beds. Really, I wasn't. But then I had a subscriber that sent me a couple of them. And I said, well, I'll set them up. And they work fantastic as long as you can water whenever you need to. But with our water restrictions, I can't water them the way I want to. Yeah, the heat for this past week has hurt everybody's gardens. Well, right now is when you need to start your seedlings for your fall garden and have your seedlings ready to be transplanted by the end of August. Because by the end of August, the weather's going to start cooling off and the plants will start growing. And my tomato plants and peppers and everything else will start growing and producing like crazy again. And this is the good time to get your collards and cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, stuff like that planted, because the bugs won't bother it as bad as they do in the spring. But like I said, most of it needs to be started from seed indoors, out of the heat. And then when it's ready to be transplanted in several weeks, go ahead and put it outside. And by then, it should start to cool off a tiny bit. Now, some things you can start from seed. I mean, I've got carrots out there right now that I started in the spring, and a bunch of them came up voluntarily from seed that were planted last year. But I don't know how good they're going to do in this heat. The heat and the rain got all my squash and zucchini plants. I've never had squash and zucchini drown before, but they were in totes with the water reservoir in the bottom, and I didn't have them completely full of dirt. They were only like half full of dirt, and my plants were drowning. We got too much rain. But I said I can't lower the holes. If I do, then it's going to start drying off and get hot, and I'm going to need that water in the bottom of that tote. Well, I can't use a drip irrigation system, MT. I mean, I could, but I could only use it one day a week. But it would be almost impossible to put a drip irrigation system into all these pots and totes and buckets that I've got out here. Yeah, I never thought about a drip irrigation system when I started planting years ago, because we didn't have water rationing then. You could use all the water any day of the week you wanted to use it. But it sure changed now. Kwang Wing said, I just noticed you were live. Yeah, I'm live today. Oh, I'd love to have one of those drip irrigations going out there. And I said some people with the drip irrigation, they turn theirs on anytime they want to, and they figure, well, you can't see it. You don't know that it's on. But people know that their garden is greener than anybody else's, and they're bound to be getting more water. Yeah, it's been like that for about 3 years now, going on 4. We've had water restrictions. Can only water one day a week. And then you can't use your water hose to wash your sidewalk off, your furniture outside. You can't use it to wash your car in your driveway. I used to wash my car right here in front of my house. I can't do that now. Not even on my watering day. Because we're restricted, you can't do it. If they catch you, they can fine you. It's because so many people have moved in. We're using so much water than we did before that the company cannot literally purify the water and pump it out to the customers fast enough. There's plenty of water, they say, but it's their system. You know, it can only produce so much clean water and pump so much water every day. And they've had to ration it so everybody gets a little bit every day. They said they want to put in another system like the one they've got, but they can't find parts to do it. They'll probably have to go to a different type of system and a newer system, and that probably costs way too much money. And if they put that in, they'll probably charge us an outrageous water bill on top of what we're already paying. $36 for 3 months. Oh my God. My water bill is usually $80 a month. Just for me. What I use and what one day a week that I water my garden. Some of these people are paying close to $200 a water bill a month because they have large families. They got all these showers going on. They're running dishwashers. They're running laundry every day. I only wash my clothes about twice a week. You know, I wait till I have a full load. I'll throw my clothes in there and I'll wash them. If I have like my jeans and shirts, I'll throw them in there one day and wash them because it's a full load. And then if I don't have a full load of towels, I'll wait a day or two until I've got a full load of towels, and then I'll wash them. But I'm usually only washing 2 loads of clothes a week. I know, but you know, what can you do? I mean, the water company makes the rules. But you know, when you got water restrictions going on for 3 years now, soon will be 4, there's got to be something done. And I don't know what. Because I don't want my water bill to double. I can't afford to pay double water bill from what I'm already paying. I'm probably using less water than anybody around here is. And it plainly shows on the website for the water company. It has like a chart, and it says I'm here right at the very top of the pyramid, and my block is about that long about how much water I'm using. The one directly below me is 3 times that much. The one below me, that is 4 or 5 times as much water. So I'm already using the least amount of water than anybody, but I'm still paying $80 a month. And when I had that drip in that hose for the garden holder out there, it went up to 90, I think it was like $96 or $97 that month. I said, holy cow, I didn't know that thing dripped that much water. Yeah, I've got a line from my washing machine that goes out to my garden. And it's not in a hooked set area. It's just laying there to where I can pick it up. And I can water 3 or 4 raised beds with it when I wash. I can water my buckets that have Swiss chard in it. I can water, a lot of times I'll leave it on the ground and it waters the rose bushes back there. I alternate, if I'm doing a lot of laundry one week and maybe I've got 3 or 4 or 5, I don't usually ever have 5 loads of clothes, not with just me. But sometimes I may have 3 loads with sheets and stuff like that, because I don't like to put my towels in with my sheets. I wash them separately. And if I do that, I'll alternate between watering my rose bushes, my raised beds, and some of the buckets and stuff that are right in that area. Because my hose is only so long, it'll only go so far. But I can water most of the area that's under the shade cloth in the middle of the garden, where I've got that archway with the raised beds and I've got my grapevines growing. I can water that area with the wash water. And that's why I keep my dish pan in the sink, is because I save the dishwater and I water plants right outside the door. I've got tomato plants, pepper plants, flowers. I keep a lot of that watered with the dish pan water. Plants love it as long as it's Palmolive soap. If I use a real strong soap, the plants don't like it. But so far, the Palmolive soap doesn't hurt them. Linda, water's very costly, over $139 a month. I used to live there. Wow. How many people is that in a household, though? Or is that just a regular charge a month? I don't pay a water bill. That is included in my rent. I also live in a mobile home park. I own my home, but rent the land, although the electric bill is almost $500. Oh, wow. I know there's some mobile home parks where all your utilities are included in the rent for your spot, but then they charge an outrageous amount for your rent just to park there, because it covers your electric bill, your water bill, your sanitation bill, all of that. I couldn't pay a $500 a month electric bill. Mine hits up $300 just maybe one time in the summer, and I like to die. And my biggest electric bill is probably coming up the next one. I don't remember what mine was. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Yeah, see, my electric bill that came this past time, $241. That was for the whole last month. But I don't remember what day that stops on. It says my average cost per day is $7.42. It's going to be more than that this next time because, you know, we've got all these triple digit days and that AC is not turned off. So I'm not going to be surprised if it hits $300. I got to pay this one pretty soon. Sometime this week I'll pay it. Rent's $525 a month. And then you pay your own electric bill. I'm sure you do. I know a friend of mine rented a place in Houston in a mobile home park, and her rent alone for the space to park on was just a little under $900 a month. But it did not include her electric bill. And I don't know how much her electric bill ran her a month. I know a lot of people say, well, why don't you buy a smaller mobile home, one you can just move around real easy and you can park it in a mobile home park. I said, why should I do that? That would cost me more to do that than what I pay now to live on, because this house is paid for. I'm not paying rent to park my house here. I own the property. I do have to pay taxes, but I have, I'm over 65, so that reduces my tax. And also, I've got my property filed as homestead. And in Texas, when you file homestead, you're over 65. It takes a big hunk out of your taxes every year. And some people say, well, I filed homestead with my brick home and my X amount of acreage, and I still pay X amount of dollars a year. But they don't stop to think, well, what is the value of your home to begin with? That's what your taxes are based on. And then you get so much of a discount off of that. I mean, if you've got a $250,000 home and say your taxes are $3,000 a year, this is just fictitious. Say your taxes are $3,000 a year, you file homestead to get it down lower, it may drop it to $2,500 a year or $2,000, a little over $2,000 a year. It's not going to get rid of your whole tax bill. Now, once you pass 65 years old, it'll drop again. Well, I've lived here since 1978, MT. I've lived here many years. This has been my home. This is where I raised my kids. So my property and my house are paid. My car's paid for. My property in North Carolina is paid. But I pay a high tax on the property in North Carolina. That's one reason I was thinking about selling it. Because I don't get no homestead discount back there. I don't get over 65 discount back there. I'm going to try to apply for SNAP benefits online. They also help with your electric bill. Well, like I said one time before, I used to get a $25 discount on any utility bill I wanted it to go on. And it went on my Spectrum bill. It took $25 every month off of that Spectrum bill, for my TV and Wi-Fi. I said, well, it don't matter which one it's going to discount. It's going to discount, the 25. But then I got notified that the $25 discount was going to stop. The government was not going to pay anybody the $25 discount anymore. And that cut out last year. Yeah, I can't see me moving somewhere and buying another mobile home, a smaller one, and then have to pay for the mobile home and then pay to have it parked in a mobile home park. I mean, I couldn't afford to do that. I guess I'm spoiled. I'm not making payments now except utilities and living expense, and that's it. You know, my insurance, gas for the car, maintenance for the car, maintenance for the house. That's what I say, MT. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You try messing with something that ain't broke, you're going to cause it to be broke. And then you really got to fix it. And it'll cost you some big money. Yeah, I couldn't make it if my place wasn't paid for. The way the prices have went up, the way insurance has went up, the cost of living has went up. I couldn't afford to make a house payment or a car payment right now. There's no way. Now, when I was working, I was making, pretty decent money. Once I did get a good, decent job. In the beginning, seemed like the whole time, or most of the time that I was raising my kids here on my own, I had to work 2 jobs 7 days a week just to make ends meet. And that was putting bare minimum on the table to eat. No, tiny homes are not allowed here. They're not allowed back where my property is in North Carolina either. They go by a minimum standard. The minimum standard here where I live right now is 850 square feet. And it was not that big when my house was put here, because this one is only something like, what did I say it was? I don't remember. I think mine is like 830 square feet or 35 square feet, something like that. It's a little under their minimum that they got. And they did have it up to 1,200 square feet, which was crazy, because these lots are not big enough for these big houses. And they've realized that, and they dropped the minimum size lower now. But it's got to be 850 square feet to put a house. And then it's got to be either a manufactured home or a site-built house. The only way I could replace this with another mobile home is if my house was to burn down. Then I've got like 90 days to replace it with something the same size or bigger. But other than that, I can't even move this one out and get a new one put in unless it was a manufactured home that was 850 square feet. Oh my God, that's outrageous, Kimberly. I didn't know that. They're fixing to mess with Medicare Part D prescription plans. And well, my prescription plan, I've already, because I called and complained about the prescription plan and the supplement plan that I have had through Cigna that is now known as HealthSpring. When I first started paying it was like $159 a month for the supplement, the 20% that Medicare doesn't pay. Then it kept going up and up and up and up. Now it's $225 a month. I called to complain about it because I've been paying that for about a year now. And they said, well, I don't think you're going to be any better off, because I think, if I'm not badly mistaken, he said the plan is getting ready to go up the 1st of September. I said, you're kidding me. He said, no, let me check and I can tell you how much. He checked, and when he come back to the phone, he said, your plan is going to go up to $289 in September, the 1st of September. And my prescription plan cost me $70 a month. And I told him, I said, do you realize that you charge as much or more for the 20% supplement plan than Medicare charges for paying the 80%? I said, something's wrong with that. Yeah, I can't imagine what's going to happen if my prescription plan goes up. It's already $70 a month. If it keeps going up, I'll be paying more for prescriptions through the plan, keeping it every month, than I would if I paid for my own prescriptions. Because most of my stuff I buy over the counter. I mean, some of my allergy stuff comes from the prescription. My blood pressure is prescription. You know, like the nasal spray, that's prescription, so the supplement plan pays that. But if it keeps going up, it'll be cheaper for me just to pay for the prescription. Yeah, see, I never wanted a copay plan. Because I know some of these copays for Medicare, you got to have a couple of $1,000s to be admitted to the hospital, if you, even in a case of an emergency. And I said, I don't have it. So I said, I need a plan, even though it may cost a few dollars more a month, that I don't have to worry if I have an accident or get sick all of a sudden and I have to go to the emergency room. I don't have to come up with X hundred amounts of dollars just to be treated, even though I've got insurance. I don't need to have to pay a couple of $1,000s for them to admit me to the hospital because I don't have it to pay. Yeah, you could be bankrupt just paying medical bills that the insurance don't pay. And see, the prescription plan used to cover all my medication, my allergies. A lot of the stuff that I'm taking that's not prescription now was prescription when I first started taking it. But then after I had taken it for a couple of years, they come up and said, well, the insurance don't pay for that anymore because you can buy it over the counter. Like my eye drops. They were like $15 for a little bottle like this that I got a prescription for. So I didn't worry about the cost that my prescription was paid for. But now a lot of that stuff I've got to pay out of pocket for, because the prescription plan doesn't pay for anything that you can buy over the counter. Yeah, and I don't qualify for extra help. I doubt. I mean, even though I've still got a low income, they probably will say, well, you get a retirement check, you get a check from YouTube each month, so you don't qualify. But I don't make that much money from YouTube, and my retirement check is not that huge. I wish it was, but it's not. Yeah, they're cutting everything, and prices keep going up, so I don't know what people are going to do. Yeah, some people said, well, you need the Medicare Advantage plan. I said, no, I don't. I called about some of those plans one time, and, well, you got to go to the network doctors, and it only pays for this, that, or the other if you go to the hospital. And then there's a copay if you go to the hospital. There's a doctor's copay if you go to the doctor. And I said, no, I don't want that. If I'm paying for insurance, I shouldn't have to pay anything up front. I don't know where that would be, Kwang Wing. Most of the guys are looking for rich women. They don't want to be the one that forks out the money. They don't want to be the caregiver. They want a rich woman that can take care of them. Oh my God. He said, well, they can't help it. They had to go up on the prescription plan because the cost of everything has went up so much. I said, well, I'm working a job with YouTube right now trying to make money just to keep my bills paid with my small retirement check. If it keeps going up, even working with YouTube, I'm not going to be able to pay this stuff. So I don't know what I'll do. I don't know. I don't plan on any extra help. And I get so aggravated at these advertisements you see. Oh, how was it worded one time? Oh, it was supposed to be to get a lower rate on your medical expenses or your medical bills, or I forgot how it was worded. But I called the number to check on it, and they first thing they did was try to sell me a prescription plan and a 20% coverage plan to Medicare. Oh, I know what it was. It was that food card. Get your $2,000 food card to help buy food and this, that, and the other. And when I called about it, they tried to sell me insurance. It wasn't a free food card at all. It was to get insurance with them to help cover Medicare to where you were paying less money a month, and that's how you saved up $2,000 a month. It was a bunch of crap. I know, Kimberly, it's terrible. If the price of food keeps going up, everybody's going to be buying the 10-pound bag of chicken for $5 or $6. And I'm not joking about it. I mean, I like the chicken legs and thighs. To me, they have more taste than the chicken breasts. I think when you cook chicken breasts, they just dry out. But the price of beef, you're paying like $7 a pound for ground beef. Used to could get it for $3 a pound. I mean, God, have mercy. I don't know, Jeremy. We've been talking about price increases and insurance increases and all this stuff. So, I mean, I'm doing fine. It's just if I could keep the cost of living down. But it's almost like all these companies and utility companies and everybody, food companies, everybody's just trying to keep raising prices to dare you to be able to pay for all of it. It'll definitely have to put you on a diet because you're not going to be able to afford to buy all the food. Oh my God, Linda, never give out your personal information on the internet for those falsies. Yeah, I know. I don't give them anything. Like sometimes I'll call to get a lower quote on my car insurance, and they'll ask me, well, what, do you have insurance now? I said, of course I do. What company do you have it with? Well, I never tell them the real company that I have insurance with. I tell them some other company. They don't know the difference. Ain't none of their business. Well, how much do you pay now? It's like, why do you need to know? But that made me so mad when I called that number. It said, get your free food card. I know y'all have seen those advertisements. Get your free food card. Get a $2,000 free food card. And all it was them trying to sell you an insurance policy to give you a lower rate than you're already paying. And that's how you got your $2,000, was how you saved on your insurance. It wasn't a card they were going to send you anyway. I said, oh my God, I just hung up on them. It's like, give me a break, and click. I know nothing's free. And like I said, they keep going up on the prices like they dare you to be able to pay it. I'm liable to end up living in my car. I mean, it's not funny. And you can understand how so many single women And even men end up living in their car. Their rent goes up. They can't pay the rent anymore, so they have no choice. They're put out in the street. And depending on what state they live in, they can't find another place to go to rent any cheaper. I mean, there's places right now I wouldn't dare move to, like New York, California. There's a lot of places because the rent would be so outrageous, I would be living in the street because I couldn't pay it. My only suggestion to people that are sincere about wanting to get a place to live cheaper than what they had, and that's why they're out on the street, is to move to another state or move to another part of the state you live in to get cheaper rent, cheaper places to live. In Florida, trailer park rent lots are over $750 now. Yeah. Like I said, my friend of mine had moved to Houston because she was from that area, and they had a travel trailer that they had redone inside, and she was paying like $800, almost $900 a month. But I think it included utilities and everything. But then even the trailer places go up on their rent. The longer you live there, the more you use, the higher they raise your rent. She's not there now. The last I heard, she'd moved back to Granbury, but I don't know if she's still here. She was living with her sister or something. Yeah, the price increases is due to the problem with Iran, with the tariffs and all that. Shipping going through the strait, the tariffs that are being paid, all of that. It's a combination of all of it. I know. I mean, I've watched these videos on YouTube. I just come across them by accident and started watching them. How these women, maybe divorced women that had to move out of the house they lived in. Maybe their husband took over the house because they couldn't afford to pay for it, so they had to go somewhere else to live. And they were living in their cars temporarily. They'd find apartments that they could afford to rent. And they'd live there a year or two, and then the landlord would go up on their rent so much, they ended up back in the street because they couldn't pay the higher rent. That's the reason I never ever wanted to rent anywhere. I know when we lived in New York, my parents rented an apartment in a huge apartment building. It was a brand new building, so we had a nice apartment. But my dad did not like to live in New York City. But that was where my mom was from. That's why he ended up there. But they only lived up there till I was somewhere around 8, 9 years old. And then we moved back to North Carolina, and that's where my mom lived and my dad lived until they both passed away. I mean, it's a shame. It really is. I mean, you got all these homeless people. You got veterans that need help. They're living in the street. And I don't know. Maybe they need to go to a cheaper place to live. I mean, if your rent in California gets so outrageous, you end up living in your car, I'd be moving. I'd go find me a cheaper place to live, and I'd be gone. In New York, the same way. There's parts of New York City that the sidewalks are full of homeless people sleeping at night. But my mom said, she said, well, some of them are really there because of hardship. There's also some there because that's what they choose to do. They'd rather live in the street and just pay for their food if they can get it, because most of them have at least a Social Security check coming in. And I could see where some of the people that are living on a Social Security check might not be able to afford the high rent in New York City. But now if they move somewhere else, they might be able to afford it a lot easier. If they moved somewhere else where it was cheaper to live, they might be able to get government assistance, food stamps, all kind of stuff, help. But a lot of them don't want it, my mom said, because they don't want the responsibility of paying those bills every month. So there's several different types of homeless people. The people that want to be there because they don't want responsibility. Other ones are there because they can't do any better. Well, I don't know when they did it because it's never been allowed here in this county for homeless people to camp out, to live in tents, to live in the street. It's not allowed to be on a street corner taking up money. It's not allowed even out of the city, like in front of Walmart or in front of a fast food place. It's not allowed to stand there and hold a sign and say, I need money, I'm down on my luck, or something like that. Now, I've seen one or two, but they were only there for a day or two and they were gone. Because once they're seen, they're asked to move or they'll go to jail. Yeah, it's too overwhelming. They don't, here in California, everything's too expensive. That would be the last place I'd want to live if I was living on a Social Security check or VA retirement or anything. Because I know in my heart you're not going to get enough to live in a decent place in California. I was watching a video one time. I can't remember what they called it. But it's a place in California where it was... it had used to be at one time a military base or something, and it all shut down and there was no buildings left or anything, but in some areas there were concrete foundations left on the ground. And these homeless people realized that the government, California, will let them camp there and not bother them. So there's a whole community, a whole little town of homeless people living in little shanties that they've thrown together with scrap wood and stuff they could find. And they've been living there. There's all kind of artists living there, and you can tell it by the paintings and stuff that's all painted up and around the area. But it's so hot out there. They have no running water. They have no bathrooms. I guess they dig a hole. They have to bring in bottled water, I guess, because there's no water, to my knowledge, that's available out there where they're living. You're right about that, because police took a man to a homeless shelter, and he was standing on the curb the next night, and the police asked him what happened, and he said he made more money on the street. Yeah. They don't want a job. They can make more money standing on the street corner getting handouts from people that go by feeling sorry for them. Just like in one video I saw where this homeless man was on a interstate overpass with his sign and a can. Down on my luck, need help, need food. And people were stopping because it was up on the overpass. And, they had to stop part of the time before they could pull out. And he was right there. And they were handing him money. But then it showed where they followed this same homeless man 2 blocks away. And he got in a brand new van. He was one of the people that made more standing on the street corner collecting money than he would on a job. So why should he go to work? It's easier to stand there and let money come to you. I mean, that's a hot job. I wouldn't be out there in this heat collecting money. But then it would make people feel even sorrier for you and be more apt to give you money, I guess. Okay, Kwang Wing, I'm glad you could stop by and spend a short time with us. God bless you. You have a blessed day. And we'll see you next time. There's one lady that I gave $5 to one time. She was standing in front of Home Depot, between Home Depot and Wendy's, I think it was. And she had a sign up. Need money for food. Well, she looked clean. She had looked like she'd been showered. She had on nice, decent, clean clothes. And I thought to myself, well, she doesn't look like the typical homeless person. But that doesn't mean she's not down on her luck. She could have a place to live, heat, place to bathe and all that. And maybe she's down on her luck and she can't buy food. She doesn't have the money. So I did give her $5. And I said, $5 will get you something over there at Wendy's to eat. She just smiled and said, thank you, and I left. The next time I come through there, she wasn't there. Hi, Frida. Yeah, I don't usually give to people like that because you never know if they're for real, if they really need it, or if they're just there to make money by you giving it to them. But you know, there's the churches around here. You can go and fill out a form of low income and get free food every week. I don't remember what day it is because I've never gotten the free food from them. But there's a lot of churches that do that. I mean, there's different days that different churches will hand out food. You could sign up with all of them and make your rounds and fill your car full of free food. They have what do they call it? It's a building where the free food is inside. They have refrigerators, freezers, and all that because they have frozen foods. They have milk in the refrigerators and all that they give people. They have eggs that are kept cool. And I worked there for a short time in one of the offices. And I said, well, you know, I don't understand why there's so many people going hungry. They could sign up for some of this free food and have free food every week. It may not be exactly what they'd go to the store and buy because you have to take what's available and what they give you. But I could make a meal out of it, you know. If I didn't have any money at all and I was starving, the food pantry, and I needed food, I'd take whatever they gave me, and I guarantee you I could make a meal out of it. I mean, I guess that's why now I can take a little of nothing and make a good meal, because that's the way I've done all my life. My first marriage was like that. My second marriage was a little better, but then that didn't last long. And when I was on my own again with my 2 kids, I had to be creative with my food, and I didn't buy the most expensive food out there. I couldn't afford to buy it. Exactly. I don't do that either, Kimberly. Food banks here in Indiana. I know there's one food bank, and I don't know if it's affiliated with any church or not, but I know it's like a government food bank. And all you do is go there and sign up, and you can go once a week to pick up food. But I'm from a small hometown in North Carolina. Now, New York, they probably had the food banks and the food kitchens and, you know, the churches that handed out free food. I don't know. I was small when we lived up there. So I wasn't aware of any of that stuff going on. But in my small hometown where I lived in North Carolina, I don't know of churches having free food for people that couldn't afford to buy food. I've never known, because they were small churches. it was a small knit community. And usually people had gardens every summer. They canned food. They put food in their freezer. And a lot of people, just like we did, we ate out of our freezer in the wintertime. My dad would go hunting. I've eaten venison many a meal. I've eaten spaghetti with the sauce made from the garden, because that's all my mom had, and it was the best spaghetti sauce you could make. That's the reason I make mine now. Yeah, and I know people probably don't believe it, but I remember the days when we were low on cash, and my mom had all these jars of vegetables and berries and peaches and stuff like that canned. My mom would bake a great big pan of homemade biscuit. We'd have a pan of biscuit on the table, a plate with butter, and a big bowl of peaches. A bowl of peaches. Like that green one that I take around the garden to put food in when I pick it. Almost that big. Because she'd open a gallon or a half-gallon jar of peaches that she canned in the summer, pour them in that bowl, and we had peaches and buttered biscuit for dinner. And nobody complained because it was good. It was like eating dessert for dinner. Or she'd fix a great big bowl of spaghetti with no meat, just the tomato sauce with a hot pan of biscuit, and that was dinner right there, or lunch. Now, we had meat and stuff too. Like on Sundays, we'd have fried chicken or pork chops or something like that. Or my mom would make peppered steak. Or cube steak with gravy, mashed potatoes, and maybe green beans that she'd canned. Yeah, I want some too. In fact, I've got a can of peaches. And I've been thinking about doing me a video and just making me some homemade biscuit and opening that can of peaches and say, this was a meal that I ate growing up. And I tell you, it's good. It's like sitting down eating peach pie for your dinner. And I tell you, nobody at our table complained about any of it. They were too busy eating. You should go for it. Yeah, maybe in the next video I do, I'll make a pan of biscuit and open that can of peaches. And that's going to be my lunch or dinner. You hope to retire at 55 now. You guys are making me think twice. I tell you, I didn't want to retire when I did. And if you retire early, they dock your retirement check. They cut it, and you never gain it back. Because they put me on retirement early, and I didn't want it, but I had no choice. And I forgot what percentage of your check they cut because you get it early, and you never regain it. It's always low. Because my Social Security check would be quite a bit more than it is if they hadn't put me in for retirement early. And the cancer scare is what did that. They put me on disability, and then as soon as I was able to go back to work, I went to work. So they cut my disability out, and they switched me over to retirement because I was at the age, I think it was 62 or 63 at that time. And they put me in on early retirement, and they cut my check. They just called and informed me they done it. They didn't ask me if I wanted them to do it. They did it because they said I was working, and since you're working and if you've been working for a while, we're going to take you off of disability. So I had no choice in the matter. So I advise anybody, if you can work till you can get full retirement, then I do it. But I mean, if you got health issues and you need to retire early, go for it. Because like my son said, don't mind drawing Social Security if that's what you're going to retire on, because it's not going to be too many years before we may not even have Social Security. And I hope that's way past my time, because I don't know what they do if they cut out my retirement check. Yeah, if you got a job retirement, that's a little bit different. Because what is it? You got to be on the job 20 years or something to get full retirement. Like my brother was with IBM. He was with them to get full retirement. But he didn't want to quit work when they told him they wanted him to retire. They wanted to bring in new people. So all the older people that had been there long enough, they paid them a per diem and had them take early retirement and go ahead and retire so they could bring the new people in the company. And he did not like it. Now you can't retire until 65 or 67, yeah. Well, see, 65 used to be the full retirement age. If you retired at 62 or 63, like you could go on early retirement, then they cut out part of your check, and you never got that back. I can go and work another full-time job with no restrictions. Well, good for you, Rodney. Now, once I switched over to regular retirement, like they switched me to, and I'm at my age I am now, I don't have any restrictions on what I make. I can make as much as I want, and Social Security does not restrict me. But now, Medicare, not Medicare, but the supplement plans, the prescription plans and all that, they look at how much you're making a year. The more you make, the higher your premium goes. I found that out. Because a lot of them base it on how much you make a year, your total income. Years of service and age combined to 85, you can retire. Well, I don't know if I could work till I was 85. 85 is pretty ripe old age. I don't think anybody wants to work at 85. Yeah, I don't have any problem with the money I make from YouTube as far as my total income and my retirement check. It doesn't affect it at all. Now, if I was younger, it might. Because I think when you're younger and you're not past full retirement age and you're not my age, Social Security can dock you so much a month based on what your other job is bringing in. But I've never had that to worry about. I mean, I'm 78 years old. They don't care how much I make. It's like they tell you, more power to you. If you can make $1 by working and doing work, and you can work, go for it. You'll be 55. Oh. Oh, so 55 and then 30 years on the job would put you at 85 so you can retire. Huh. 33 years of service and 55 makes 85. Yeah. $33. Well, that makes actually 88 years old. Because if you're going to add 3 to each number, it would be 88. Yeah, I had heard that they raised the regular retirement age, that people can't retire. But you know, a friend of mine a few years ago, when he realized I had retired early, even though I didn't want to, he said, well, I'm going to do that, because he said, I don't think I can work 3 or 4 more years. I don't think I'll make it. So he went ahead and retired early and started drawing his Social Security retirement. But then he's got a lot of stocks and stuff that bring in dividends every month that supplement his income. And even his Social Security check, brings in more than I do a month. His Social Security check alone, his retirement check, brings in probably what my retirement check is and YouTube combined. Thank you, Rodney. I'll take 60 any day of the week. Really, I wasn't telling the truth. I'm only 60. Okay, Kimberly, enjoy your church service. We'll see you later. Have a good rest of the day and stay cool. Frida said, I'm 63. Well, good for you. Yeah, when I was able to do anything after I got over that cancer scare and I went through chemo and I started building my immune system back up to where I could get out in public, I went back to work. I could not live on that disability check. It was too small. I mean, it would barely pay most of my bills. It wouldn't pay them now because the bills have went up so much. But back then, it barely paid my bills every month. And then if I needed something work done on the car, there was no money for it. If I needed a repair done on a pipe in the kitchen or the sink or anything like that, there was no money to pay that. And I got scared. I said, I can't do this any longer. I've got to have more money coming in. Because, I mean, you know what the repair bills are. Like, they wanted $300 just to put a kitchen sink in. They wanted $300 or $400 just to put a new faucet in. No, they didn't want to repair the faucet. They said it couldn't be repaired. They wanted $300 to put a new one in. And I said, no, thank you. I sent them on their way. And I went to Home Depot and I got the part that went down in the faucet and I fixed it myself for $12. I mean, I didn't know for sure I was going to be able to fix it, but I brought up a YouTube video and I saw how they fixed it. And I had watched my plumber replace that very part several times before. And I said, I think I can do it. If I can get this faucet apart, I can get that part in there and get it fixed. And I did. I took it apart, took the stem out, took it out to Home Depot, and I said, I need one of these. Sure, lady, right here. Didn't have a hard time finding it or nothing. I think it cost me like $12 for the parts I needed. And I came home and I did a video on it of me repairing my faucet, and it's not leaked a day since. It's worked fine. I mean, if the faucet leaked anywhere else from where it did, I don't know if I could fix it or not. But I know a good plumber I can call. Well, that's sweet, Rodney. It'd be nice if you were close, you could help fix things for me. I don't have anybody close that can fix stuff like that. And my son says he couldn't even fix plumbing at his own house. He doesn't know anything about plumbing, and he wasn't about to pull pipes apart. But yet the kind of work he does on his job, you think he could do any of that. I mean, I'm not a plumber either, but to save $300, I can get it figured out. Karen says, I get $181 from United Healthcare for food or whatever else I need. Well, good for you, Karen. I didn't know United Healthcare would give money like that to anybody for anything. James is 71 and Frida's 63. See, I know there's probably a lot of places that elderly people can apply for discounted stuff, free food, free this, free that. But if you don't know where it is, it's not doing you any good. And I never knew about the churches giving food out. I never knew about the food banks in town back when I was raising my 2 kids, or I may have signed up for some of it just to bring food in the house. I didn't know it was available. And I'd never gotten a food stamp in my life until they put me on disability. And the doctor didn't even ask me. They got me on disability and got me getting food stamps. But then when they switched me over to regular retirement Social Security, the office where you sign up for food stamps, I can't remember what they call it. They cut out my food stamps. They said, well, you're getting a retirement check now. I said, yeah, I am, but it's not any more than the disability check was. But she didn't believe me. You're getting a retirement check now. You don't need food stamps. It's like I don't bring any more money in than I did with the disability check. Yeah, she may be on an Advantage plan or something. The plan I'm on don't give you nothing. But those Advantage plans scare me. With all their different co-pays, and then you got to go to certain doctors, got to go to certain hospitals. I said all that would drive me crazy. Co-pays when you go to the hospital. Co-pays when you go to the emergency room. I said, well, that's why I have insurance, to pay for that, because I can't. I can't pay for the insurance and co-pays too. I guess. But then, all the foster kids, they get a food stamp. They get free food every month on the food stamps. Because I worked as an assistant with one woman that kept 5 foster kids. And she was getting a food stamp card for every one of those kids to help feed them. So she never had to worry about food. And I think she was getting a certain amount of money for each one on top of that each month. I don't know how much. But the best I can remember, each one of those 5 kids was getting $150 a month food stamps. So you say 5 times $150, that's a lot of food. But you're feeding 5 people too, or 6, counting the lady that was looking after them. But it got to be too much for her, so she hired me to help her out, because she was working part-time on a job, I think, in Fort Worth. And the day I went in to see her, my hair had not even grown back yet. I had on the wig because I didn't want to walk in there bald-headed. And she took one look at me. She said, well, you look pretty good. You don't look like you don't have any money. I should have pulled the wig off and say, that's a cover-up. Everybody told me I looked better in that wig than my real hair. But I never liked it because the wig was more of a red than my hair is. That's what I'm on an Advantage plan through United Healthcare, and I don't pay any copays. Never have. May be worth checking back into. I have no out-of-pocket cost, and I'm on Social Security. Well, every time I've ever talked with an agent about an Advantage plan, one of the first things they start telling me is, well, you got to copay for a doctor's visit, and you got to copay for an emergency room, you got to copay for the hospital. I says, forget it. I don't want to do all that. And then you got to go to. Do you have to go to the network doctors that they have, Karen? Are you limited to the hospitals and doctors you can go to on that plan? Because most of them are. My phone is probably almost dead too. I didn't even think to plug it in. I'm glad you reminded me, Rodney. I can plug my phone in, my camera in. My laptop usually pops up a message that tells me your battery's low. It hasn't popped up yet. But I think my camera, I plugged my camera charger into the laptop. That ain't gonna work. There. Now oh my goodness, my camera was down on 24%. It would have cut off with me pretty soon. Karen said yes, the doctor, but doctor I've been going to for years is in the network, but I don't pay anything for specialists or hospital visits. Yeah, I said it'd be my luck that my hospital, my doctors out here are none on the network for them. And see, I can go even out of state, and if I have an emergency, I can go to the doctor and my insurance pays for it. There's no copay. A lot of those insurances, if you're out of state, you got to pay out of pocket to go to the doctor. The insurance won't cover it. Well, we got one hospital here, and now we've got doctor's offices all over town. Used to, years ago when I first moved here, there was the hospital, but we didn't have MD doctors. They were all, was it OB doctors or whatever they call them? I can't remember the name of it, but they're not regular MDs. I had to go out of town to like Cleburne to go to an MD, but now we have MDs everywhere here. And Tamara Ameling is very rural. Hospitals are few and far between. Well, there's hospitals in Fort Worth. There's hospitals in Cleburne. Hospitals in Weatherford. So I'm surrounded by towns with hospitals. But they're at least 30, 40-minute drive away. Fort Worth is a good hour. Or to the actual hospital, it's a little further. To Cleburne, it's probably, I don't know, about 45-minute drive to Cleburne. But we've got Lake Granbury Medical here in Granbury for the hospital. But a lot of people don't like it. I don't know what is so bad about the hospital that most people don't like Granbury Hospital. They claim they get bad service or something. I don't know. Bad treatment. I've had to go to the emergency room out there twice. Once when I was going through chemo and my temperature got up a little bit, and they said if it gets up to like 101, you need to go to the emergency room. So I went to the emergency room, they checked me over, and they said, well, you're fine. You know, they did blood work or whatever they had to do to check me, and sent me home. They said I was fine. So, and then the time I was attacked, I went to the emergency room and found out really quick that they don't give you pain pills or pain medicine if you don't have medical insurance. But they did lickety-split when the cop told them they were going to, that they didn't have to worry about me paying the bill anyway, that I was not the one that was going to pay it. The guy that attacked me was going to pay it, and they already had him arrested. So they came in there and gave me pain medicine after that. Well, I was going to run to Walmart and get those jalapenos, but I didn't want to go in the hottest time of the day. And it's 5:17 right now. So hopefully it'll start cooling off a little bit out there. We've been on for about almost 2 hours, 1 hour and 48 minutes. But don't y'all feel that way? It seems like they keep going up on the prices, and your retirement checks don't go up. I mean, every once in a while they'll put a couple of dollars on Social Security retirement, but usually it's $2 or $3. I mean, that's not enough to do a whole lot. You can't even buy a burger with $2, $3. It just seems like they keep raising the price like they dare you to be able to pay your bills. Tamara said, I don't think I want to be locked into one facility. Me either. I want to be able to go to any hospital or doctor that I need to go to at the time. I don't want anybody to tell me, well, you got to go to this one or that one. And like I said, if I could afford all the co-pays, I wouldn't need insurance. I'd just pay cash. But I don't know how long I'll be able to pay these high prices, especially with it going up to $289 in the 1st of September. I'm paying $225 a month for that now, so it's going up about $50. It went up about $50 the last time it went up. Tamara Emily said, no Advantage plan for me. Yeah. From what I've checked into those Advantage plans, I don't want them. And then, like I said, I don't go to the hospital very often. I don't go to the doctor except for my 2 checkups twice a year. I go once a year for the blood work. Then I go back in 6 months just for him to check me over. Check my blood pressure, and that's it. So it wouldn't cost me really to be on an Advantage plan the way I've been doing. But just as sure as I go on an Advantage plan, I'd be having to go to the doctor left and right, and I'd never be able to pay all the copays. That's why I don't want to get on one, because you never know when something's going to happen that you got to go to the doctor, or you got to go to the emergency room, or you're going to be admitted to the hospital. One lady at work where I worked at Lake Stone Terrace, she said that she went through, what was it, United Healthcare, and she didn't pay a large premium per month, but there was copays. Donna says, Linda, stay off ladders. You got me coughing. I started laughing and that triggered my coughing. Oh. Well, Donna, I only get on the ladders when I have to. And I'm going to sooner or later have to get back on the ladder to switch out that pole that I put that light on. But it won't be as hard to switch it out as it was to put it up in the first place. Because I got it all figured out now. I was going through trial and error trying to get it up the first time. I'm surprised Jana hasn't popped in, but she may have people over today, or she may be out visiting. I don't know if she works on Sunday or not. Tamara says, I work at a hospital. I don't think I would sign up for the Advantage plan. Other hospitals have specialists I may need. Right. You may need some specialist at a hospital that's not covered under your plan, and then what are you going to do? Tamara Douglas says, same here, Karen. I only pay $18 monthly for Scan Advantage plan. A few small copays. I guess I've talked my limit. I was doing real fine until I started laughing a while ago. We still got 51 people watching. Tamara Emily says, blessings to all that love their Advantage plan. Not for me. Yeah, it's not for me as long as I can afford to pay the bill, but like I said, they keep going up on the cost. So I don't know how much longer I'll be able to pay it. I mean, my income from YouTube was down last month about $250. It was another about a $50 down this month. And that's one reason I started going back live, is to try to get my income built back up, because it's getting too low. I can't do that. Linda says, I was on United Healthcare plan for 10 years, F plan. It started out around $145 per month and increased to $445 a month. I changed the same coverage, Humana, $235. Yeah, I started calling around about my plan, and the couple of guys I got on the phone telling them I was paying $235 now, and it was supposed to go up the 1st of September to $289. And he was telling me, well, the cheapest plan we can offer you is $300 a month. I said, well, forget that. So I stopped talking to him. I'd be increasing what I'm paying, not lowering it. I wish I could find the phone number for my insurance company that I called the last time and got the lower rate. But I don't know what I did with the phone number. Well, see, they put me on disability, and that paid for all the cancer stuff. You know, the treatments I went in to get like once or twice a week. I never had to pay any of that. I couldn't have paid it anyway. But I was already before that considered low income. And then they diagnosed me with cancer and put me on chemo, knocked out my immune system, and I couldn't go out in public. I had to stay home, so I couldn't work. Okay, now Tamara Douglas is asking Tamara Ameling why she's against Advantage plans. I'm still learning. She's probably against it because of the co-pays and the restrictions on what doctors and hospitals you can go to. That's the part of it I don't like. I feel like if you pay a premium plan every month for medical insurance, you shouldn't have to have a copay. And you should be able to go to any doctor or hospital you need to go to. Well, you ended up with a good plan, Karen. If it's covering everything you need and you don't even have to pay a premium every month. That sounds like disability to me. Because usually when you're on disability, they put you on Medicaid and you don't pay any medical. But before it's all over with, I may end up on one of those because it might be all I can afford to pay. Yeah, you're on not disability, just Social Security. Well, it must have something to do with low income or something. Or maybe your health. I don't know. They didn't tell you when you got that insurance why you don't pay a premium and why you get what you get. And there's Uncle BB Munson. Hello, Uncle BB. How are you doing? But you know, Medicare went up on their 80% that they take out of your Medicare, your Social Security check, which is right at $300 or a little over 300. So counting that, the money for my 20% plan and my prescription plan is over $600 a month that they're taking out of my income just for medical. Medicare, the 20% plan, and prescription plan, because my prescription plan is $70 a month. I can't tell you what I told when I told a friend of mine that he needed to watch, because his plan for his 20% that he doesn't pay, he's on a Plan G plan, is like me. And I said, they told me when I called to complain about what it went up to already, they said, well, it's going up again September 1st. Let me check. And I told him, they said it was going up to $289 a month. And I said, I'm sure yours will too. And he was already paying more than me, because he has a higher income than I do. And I think that's wrong too. They base what you pay for your 20% coverage and your prescription plan on your income. Well, yeah, I get a little over $1,000 a month, but when they take out 300 and some dollars for the 80% medical coverage, you don't have that much left, even out of $1,000. I mean, you could be getting $1,400 a month. By the time they take 300 and some odd dollars out of your check to cover the Medicare, you're lucky if you get 1,000 put in your bank account to live on. And I know the more you made on your jobs as income when you retired on Social Security retirement, the amount you get was based on your income when you were working. And mine was never that much. I mean, I had a low income working because there was no jobs around that paid anything. And most of the jobs here in Granbury back then were only paying minimum wage. And since I had kids, I stayed in Granbury to work. You know, I did go to Fort Worth for a time or two on different jobs. But then you had the expense of driving to work every day, and that's not cheap. Paying for gas to drive an hour each way to work. Yeah, you don't pay the Medicare. So I would have over $300 more in my bank account to live on if Medicare didn't take out that 300 and some dollars for the Medicare part. And then too, it depends on what state and city you live in, what the cost of living there is, what your expenses are, what you can get free. Because that's the first thing they'll do is they want your bank statements, they want utility bills, rent bills, house payment bills, insurance bills, car payment bills, any bill that you pay out a month, they want to see it. And then they want to see records of your income that comes in every month. And if you're paying equal to or more out every month than's coming in, you might be entitled to something free. I have MDS, blood and bone disorder, requires specialist, extensive blood transfusions, several other monthly injections, thousands of dollars. So far it's paid for by scan, Well, good for you, Tamara. I'm glad they're taking care of you. Give money to people who come to church in need of food, money on the spot, but we can't do that every week, but enough to get them out of buying. I'm late with this comment. Well, a lot of the churches, like I said, the big churches, like Lakeside Baptist or the big Baptist church on the other side of town, they've got enough members that they have food banks in their churches. And it's all donated food from the community that give to them, and then they hand it out to people in need of food every week. But you do have to fill out a form to be able to get it. Because I know there's a lot of people in the church that get that free food. I never did. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have to, the way the cost of living's going up and my income is not going up with it. My cable and Wi-Fi bill just went up. The water bills go up a little bit each year, or all the time, seem like. I figured it out. And the base charge for my water bill each month, and then what they charge you of the water that you use every month, on that, according to that bill, the best I look at it, I only use about $13 worth of water a month. Everything else is just a regular charge. They, like the mandatory charge, the minimum charge, taxes, service fees, whatever other charge they tack onto that water bill. And I only actually use about $13 worth of water. But I'm paying $70, $80 a month for water. Hello there, Olga. Happy new month to you as well. I don't know. It's it's a get rich quick world. And all these companies, I know they have bills to pay to run companies, but, you know, they're not in business if they're not making a lot of money. They'd go out of business if they were not making lots of money. And they're making that money off of us, the people that need the services, that need the water, they need the gas, they need the electricity. So you can understand why so many people that you see on YouTube are going to live off grid. They're building their own cabins. They're hooking to the solar systems. They're pumping their own water. They don't have water bills, sanitation bills, electric bills to pay each month. I mean, it costs to get set up, but once you get set up, then you don't have all those utility bills every month. Like this one channel I watched, when they first were thinking about building their house and hooking up to either electricity or solar, they said where they lived, it was going to cost them personally. They'd have to pay the electric company this amount of money, about a little over $12,000, to get a utility pole ran out to where they needed it to hook up to the utility company. And they checked into the solar, and it was going to cost them about the same for solar to get hooked up. Well, they figured it's going to cost the same, but one thing is different. With the solar, they're not going to have a monthly utility bill to pay. With the electric company, they not only had to pay the $12,000 to get them to run the line out where they were, but they were going to have a utility bill monthly every single month after that. So I don't blame them. They said they were better off to go solar, so that's what they did. But now, the guy that was building the house, the lady's husband, was an electrician, so he knew about hooking all that up. He didn't have to pay someone to do it. He bought all the parts and the wires and the converters or whatever he needed, and the batteries to run his solar system, and he hooked it up himself. They built their house with their own hands. I mean, they contracted out parts of it at different times because they needed some help. But most of their house they built themselves. And they saved a lot of money by doing that. And they're saving even more money by being off grid because they don't have all the utility bills every month. They heat and cool off of solar power. And that's free to them every month as long as they keep their solar system going. You know, there's regular maintenance on that. And, you know, after so many years, parts are going to wear out. They may have to upgrade it or replace things. But still, that's a lot better than paying a monthly utility bill. Better than paying $300 or $400 electric bill a month. You canceled cable, but it was a need, yeah. I thought several times about canceling my TV, my phone, and just keep the internet, the Wi-Fi. But I was advised not to, because they said once you do that, they're going to start going up on your Wi-Fi, your cable, your internet part, and you're going to end up paying as much for that as you did the whole everything else. So they said I'd keep it as a bundle package as long as I could. So that's what I've been doing. Because just the internet part of my bill is like $80 or $90 that I pay every month. The phone is the smallest part of it. It's only like $20, $30 a month. Yeah, I don't really have a need for cable TV because I'm always on the internet. When I'm watching something on my television, I'm usually through Wi-Fi, the internet, because I'm watching YouTube movies. I'm not watching regular cable television. I've heard of it, but I don't know how good it works. And I've heard of those boxes you can get, hotspots that you don't have a monthly cable bill, but you still get free internet with that box once you buy the box. And I don't know how true that is. I almost tried to buy one time. I said, well, that would be so neat if I could get one of those boxes and still have internet coming in, because I could watch any movie just like I do now, because I watch them on YouTube, which is through the internet. Uncle BB says, Linda, maybe you could get a tour bus to come by your house to see your beautiful tidy house and garden. Charge admission. Yeah. Well, I had a problem with people wanting to know everything that was going on with me, my house, my yard, everything else. That's one reason. I said if I go to YouTube and start videoing everything, they can just watch my videos. They don't have to come to my house to see what's going on. They can watch my videos and know what's going on. And I might make a penny off of it. Oh, me. I had my cable and landline disconnected 4 years ago and only used my internet, and my internet has never went up. Not one time. They will tell you it will go up to keep you tied to that big bill. Wow. Huh. Well, I know there's a lot of people that are paying $300 and $400 a month for their internet and TV and all that. Mine just went up to $183, which is a lot for me, but it wasn't that expensive before. I remember back when the company first come to Granbury, it wasn't Spectrum then, it was cable television is what the name of the company was. And I had to be on a waiting list for like 2 years just to get cable because they didn't have the lines run. And I only paid $19 a month for my TV, my internet, and my phone. But then when that was for the landline internet. It wasn't for high speed because we didn't have it. And then later they came out with the packages where you could get high speed internet, long distance calling, and cable TV in a bundle package for like $69. So I got it. That was the cheapest way you could go. Because I didn't have a cell phone then. Most people didn't. Everybody used a landline phone. So I started out at $69.99 or $95 a month for all three, and now it's $183. I guess I've been overusing my voice after all that irritation from last night. Well, I've been thinking seriously about disconnecting everything here except for the internet. But like I said, they told me, they kind of warned me against it because they said, well, if you do that, pretty soon just your internet is going to cost as much as what you're paying for all three now. So I kept it. Well, I didn't have the cough when I first started the live, but I've been talking for over 2 hours, so my voice is getting kind of rough again. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to start saving the lids, Tamara. I usually save like the sea salt container because it's a good size container with the top on it that you can sprinkle out. And I've said it in one of my videos. I think that would be real good to put your dried spices in from your yard, like my oregano, dried thyme, any of the dried stuff. It would be good because most of my stuff, it's so, it dries so crispy that you just touch it and it turns to powder almost. And that way you don't buy little containers to put spices in. Oh, wow, Diana. She says I live in a senior apartment here in Buffalo. I pay $85 for internet and TV. We have direct TV. You have a blessed day, Linda. Well, thank you for letting us know that. But you must get a discount for being a senior in a senior apartment, probably. You store your watercolor brushes in it, huh? Yeah, I save the whole jar too. I save the lid because it's already got the holes in the top. You can sprinkle your spices out once they're dehydrated and broken all up. And Candy Cane said she was late getting here. Yeah, I've got a, like, here, I'll show you. Like this rosemary that's dehydrated from the garden. This was garlic, chopped garlic jar that I bought garlic in one time. And I said, well, that would make a neat size jar for my spices. So I got rosemary in this one, and I got peppermint in one. I've got, I've got basil in a couple. Oregano. And they fit on the mason jar. That's good to know. I guess I've never tried to put one on a mason jar before. I'll have to check that out. I had one. Let's see what I did with it. Like this one, this had, I think salt in it. But when I got the label off of it, I didn't get all the glue off, so it's still a little, not sticky, not really, but it's cloudy on the jar, so I know there's still like a glue film on it. I'm gonna have to clean it with something to get that film off of it, because I don't want to use it with the film on the outside. It makes it look dirty, and I know it's just a little bit of that glue that I didn't get off. But you know, that size jar would be great to put dehydrated spices from your garden in. Yeah, you're talking about this one. And you know, the paint jars are the same. They have the same size lid that the bigger jars do. And it fits on there. Yeah, I can see where that big opening would work great to put paintbrushes down in. And it would work great for spices. I don't think I'd want to put them in like a quart jar. That'd be too big. But yeah, they'd fit on the paint jars and the quart jars. My jar smells like Parmesan cheese now. Now I'm going to have to wash it. I got Parmesan cheese down in it. Oh, well. I didn't realize that we've been on here for 2.5 hours, y'all. No wonder I'm having a hard time coughing or talking without and having to cough. Yeah, but that's good to know. And that would probably work good for to use the lid on a quart jar if you wanted to ferment vegetables, because you know that you always need a jar that gets a little air, because sometimes when you're fermenting vegetables, it builds up a gas in there. And it's always good to cover it with like a cloth or something instead of a real lid, unless you can leave a little gap where it gets air. That would probably work on that too. Good to know. Thank you for that tip. Uncle BB said Mom used to save her dippity-doo jars. What did she do with the dippity-doo jars, Uncle BB? What did she save them to use them for? I was waiting to see if he was going to respond to that. Dad's bones. Oh no. You're something else, Uncle BB. Well, y'all, we've been on here for 2.5 hours. I'm starting to cough pretty bad. Yeah, dippity-doo, that was that hair gel, wasn't it? I never used it, but I saw it before. That hair gel all the women used to use years ago. Well, y'all, we've been on here for 2.5 hours. My voice is getting pretty scratchy. And I don't want to start coughing my head off like I did yesterday, for sure. So I think I'm going to end the live and give my throat a rest. But I appreciate each and every one of you for coming into the live. I know, you're giving me 2.5 hours out of your day that you could be doing something else. So I hope you enjoyed it. I think my mom used it was pink. My mom never used dippity-doo. Then she sprayed them, adorned and made a necklace. I never used the dippity-doo. My mom never did either. But I remember seeing commercials about it. They used to have commercials on TV about dippity-doo all the time. Well, y'all, like I said, I'm going to end the live. Thank you so much for coming on board with me today. I've enjoyed chatting with each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you for spending time with me like you do. And I hope all of you have a good evening. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. And stay cool. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.